GM and welcome to the Lite Hour live stream. This is the first episode of the Litecoin dedicated live stream brought to you by me, the host, Raphael. I'm the founder of Flipping Finance, the Gen Z financial, entertainment media outlet. You can find us on X, on YouTube, on Instagram, and you can follow us. If you want to catch some really interesting updates about Litecoin and finance, and some really nice satire content. So, I this is the light hour live stream, and I am here today with my very first guest.
Just
Light.
call me Underground. I don't even know. I don't know my
What?
name anymore. Just call me Underground. I don't know what my name is anymore.
Okay, I want you to introduce yourself because I don't know if you'll be fine with my introduction.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, my name's Grant Cook, even though I don't like to give out my name all the time. But I ran Litecoin Underground for a long time, which was podcast spaces. I did videos, Litecoin oriented, and yeah, I kind of changed gears last year. I don't know, maybe this spring. I decided I was gonna try to branch out and broaden into different categories. So now I have an account called the Populist Block, which is kind of meant to be a little more political oriented, but also, the block part of it. We're still talking about cryptocurrencies and blockchains and stuff. So, I don't know, taking a step back. I've been doing Twitter Spaces every Wednesday night for 4 years. We've had basically anybody you can think of in the Litecoin community in there, and yeah, it's been quiet lately, but I think it's going to pick back up. We're starting to see more interest in it, and so I don't know if you just disappeared on me, dude. Like,
Yo, sorry, dude. I'm trying to
off.
fix my headphones. I don't know. I have This is the only reason why this we sort of had a slight delay in starting the stream because I've not been able to get this shit fixed.
I don't even use
headphones.
headphones on StreamYard. Just don't use headphones. Just
So
get rid of these
I
headphones.
literally can't hear anything you're saying. Just give me a second. Hold on.
All right. Can everybody else? Is the question. Hang on. I'm texting you.
Okay. So I don't know, man. You could start. I don't know. It's an open chat. Like if there's anything you wanna just talk about, man. You could just lead the way, lead the conversation. Hey.
I'm just giving him some comments. So, all right, this is going to be awkward if you and I can't really talk to each other. But I guess I'll just go on. I don't even know. Well, what am I supposed to do? Give me something to talk about. Oh, my gosh. All right, hang on a second. Let me help him out. All right, I don't have a ton of time, so I'm just gonna keep going. So yeah, last night basically I do these Wednesday night Twitter Spaces at 9 p.m. Eastern, and I've been doing them for close to 4 years. The first one I ever did was like a week after the 10th birthday of Litecoin, so it's been close to 4 years, and we get everybody in on a Wednesday night. Hang on my camera.
Oh, hey.
What is this? This is not going well. Hang on a second. All right, we're getting all sorts of distractions. So yeah, it kind of started out, I guess, as we were the first podcast on Litecoin, and I did that for a few years. I would imagine most people in Litecoin at least recognize me, know who I am. But maybe if these are new listeners, if you're following Raphael, he started coming into our spaces a couple weeks ago, and I've had some really cool conversations. Like not necessarily focused on crypto, but
I can hear you.
All right, good. I was trying to give an idea how I got to know you. So especially last week, he came in the spaces on like a Thursday night. I just did a random one. And we have a couple drinks and have a good time. And we were. I was learning everything about Nigeria, and it was eye opening to say the least.
Yeah. You know
So
what's interesting? I want to chime in with something a little bit. This little aux cable, yeah. Whenever
right.
I want to stream and like I have a guest, it disappears, and I don't
Mm.
know where I put it, and I always find it the next day. I don't know who did that voodoo magic to make it disappear whenever I need it, but
You got.
today I said no voodoo magic's gonna work
I do
again.
this. I got a wire. I clip. I'll just clip it to something. Like if a wire that falls behind the thing all the time or whatever, I put a little paper
Oh,
clip on it. But anyway,
oh, that's
life
freaking cool.
hack.
I
Well,
think
so
I'm
what?
gonna do
Okay, so you can't. Last night you were like, "Hey, I'm doing this thing," and I was like, "I'll do it." I always like to be the. If I can be first at something, I will do it. So
that.
then I get to say I was first. So if you ever get to be famous, I get to always say I was the first guest. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of
Yeah.
like that's how I operate. If I'd have been second guest, I'd have been like, nah, I don't want to do it. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, you kind of sprung that on me last night. I don't have anything really prepared. Like I said, I've been a little bit kind of mentally checking out from the crypto thing, and I think everybody in crypto goes through this a bit. Like you're thinking about it all the time. I mean, I was doing crypto shows for 3+ years. It's like your brain just wears out eventually. Like I've talked about block sizes and block times and security budgets and all this stuff for so long that eventually you're like, I just need a break. So that's where I think I kind of started, and we'd always go and you come into my spaces, we'd always morph into other conversations. It would start
Yeah.
out, we'd talk about the news and crypto, and then it would get into like, how the money works and the political systems, and then you end up just by the end you're just kind of BSing with some friends, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so what do you do on this show? What's your main thing? Are you do some charts, right?
Whatever, honestly, like the point of this old season, this like our live stream is after the old season tour live stream, we get to have a 1 hour Litecoin dedicated live stream where we can talk about any ideas, right? I could have anyone from the Litecoin community on, on stream, anybody with an idea, right? Anybody who has something to share,
Mm,
who have something to like share, particularly when when retail starts coming in and there's a lot of traction to the autism tour. I'm just creating this platform so we can have a dedicated Litecoin stream where we can have people with great ideas in the community just come and like give that ideas to the people who are just going to be discovering Litecoin for the first time through the altcoin season tour. And so that's
mm,
that's what that's the main idea behind what I'm making this like our live stream for. And at the same time as well, it's just a way for us to like just chat, man, and just hang out.
mhm.
It's a one big family of a community for us. And so, it's always gonna be good if we could just, hang out, have some cool conversation, man. Just chill, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always wanted to be the place that I felt like, because when I first started doing that back in 21 or whatever, it was like the maximalists were so bad. It was just it it just irritated the crap out of me. I just couldn't believe just um the amount of BS that was being spread all the time. And so that was really my big motivation. Like I want to go get people to come in and have conversations that are productive and tell them the truth, you know what I mean? And that's wishful thinking on the internet that you're going to have good productive conversations with people. But
Yeah.
yeah, my idea was always like the more people I can bring in just to see it as not intimidating or feel comfortable asking questions, the better. Um, that's the hardest part with crypto is like there's a lot of people that want to, and I'm not innocent of this either. They like to show off what they know about the blockchain. It's like this
Yeah.
back and forth where somebody who comes in and doesn't know anything about it is just like, what are you guys talking about? Like this, they're just grasping the basic nature of, hey, this is this stateless money that can be used anywhere in the world. You're living in a place, and I mean, I think there's a lot more places that are going to start seeing difficulties with their money, becoming less valuable pretty rapidly.
Yeah.
And like that's one of the things I think, man, what a lifeboat to think I've got my money in something that if my whole country falls apart, I'm good. Like I'm saving in this international money, right? So there's like two ways to look at it. To me, that's I try to keep the excitement, the hype down. I'm not a hype man at all. I've never sat here and told people to buy coins. I feel like that I don't tell people it's going to $5,000 or whatever. I just
Yeah.
think the important thing is that you make it approachable. And if you get people wrecked, you're going to lose them forever. That's been always I don't want to tell somebody, oh man, it's $300, go buy it. And then it goes to $50 and they just hate me forever. You know what I mean? So I'd
Yeah.
rather
Yeah.
just be honest with them that I don't know. What I know is that if it's sound money, it's not going to go down. We're not going to wake up in 3 months and no one cares about Litecoin. Like it's really, really established itself as the go-to currency that people are using for crypto payments.
Yeah.
And yeah, just kind of enjoy the ride. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs in the crypto world. Like it's funny. I just had this buddy of mine. He and I talk we've been talking about Litecoin for years. And some days he'll message me. He's like, yeah, he's all hyped up. And then some days he's like, we're going to get so screwed. It's just your emotions get to you and you have to just recognize when that is. And over time you realize like you make a plan that, you're either going to accumulate or, like Chief was talking in Spaces last night, like he buys it when he sees it go down, and when it goes up 1x, it goes from $60 to $120, he's going to go buy something for himself with it. He's happy to make that 1x, and I don't blame him. Like when you think about it, if I'd have made all the 1x's I could over the last 5 years, I'd be doing great. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's just different ways people want to use it. And so, yeah, sitting here getting on a camera and telling people how they, hodl for dear life, don't ever sell it. It's just, there's too many people in the world you can't tell them how to live their life. So that's just been my philosophy. So
Absolutely.
what about you?
I guess
How long you been doing this? How long you been making videos? I don't know a lot about you. I mean, you and I have talked a little bit, but I don't know your history very much.
Okay, I'm gonna answer that, but before I answer that, I think like we could just make the theme of this conversation Litecoin and inflation, because I feel like that connects very deeply because what you mentioned about like having to save your money in having to save your value in this international money that is controlled by no one and is with a reducing inflation rate till it eventually becomes completely, void of any form of inflation. It
Right.
sort of like connects to me at a very deep level because like that's what Litecoin is to me, honestly. Like I keep talking about, I mean, I want Litecoin to go to $4,000 next year or what, but like if it doesn't happen, I'm not gonna panic, right? Because in my mind, I see what inflation is just doing to my country, to my people, and I absolutely freaking hate it. I mean, and I don't
Mhm.
want to. I've seen a lot of people that they were essentially very wealthy people. Honestly, they didn't lose any particular opportunities, and they became absolutely freaking poor.
Yeah.
And I don't mean from very wealthy to middle class. I mean from very wealthy straight to poor. Like you got to think about what to eat. From
It's
having to fly
it's
around the country.
disgusting when you think about like people that
Oh,
they work their whole lives, they save, they do the right thing. They're not breaking the law. They save, they're responsible. And, frankly, some bureaucrats just decide, they don't care. They don't even understand what's happening. To them, they're just spending money. They don't connect the fact that like when your money goes down 10%, you're telling me everything I saved my entire life, you're taking 10% of it away from me. That's essentially what's happening to you. And when they do it every single year, which happens in a lot of places, that's just you can never how could you ever get anywhere? How could you ever save anything? How could you ever build wealth if you can never get that extra? Because I mean, how much disposable income do we all have anyway? Not that much. It might be that extra 5 to 10% that you have a little extra every month, and then you're telling me that's just going to be basically worthless at the end of the year. And so yeah, I got to imagine every time you guys get a paycheck, first thing you do is figure out where am I going to spend it? Because because the money
Absolutely.
itself is basically evaporating. So even if it's I don't know, it's I don't know, pens and papers or shoes or whatever it is, I better buy them today because in 30 days they're going to be more expensive, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and just to
That's
have to live in that mindset is just ridiculous, man.
absolutely like that's the reality of it. Honestly, that's the reality of the way it plays out in you know in the country, and the way people treat your finances and people's relationship with money over here. And it's one that, however, rather strangely, is not even driving a lot of people towards Bitcoin and Litecoin for
Hmm.
reasons it should be. Because everyone's still thinking about crypto as number go up, and I've done
Hmm.
my fair bit in trying to educate like my friends and my family. Oh my God, I never stop talking about Litecoin in particular because like the reason why I never shut up about Litecoin is man, Litecoin's it's unkillable, man. It cannot die, and I love that. And that's part of the reason why I feel confident betting so much of my energy, my effort, my time, and risking so much the public space to defend it and to promote it. Because I mean, just having a store of value, right? That is, with the tokenomics and the supply demand mechanisms of Litecoin, that is completely divorced from any of the memetics that is going on with the team or the founders, right? I mean, look at other coins. They're like, oh yeah, the so team's doing this partnership, and that sort of like hypes the price and all of that. But having Litecoin have absolutely none of that, and I'm just seeing the network continue to get adopted on on an increasing level, right? Just hundreds of thousands of transactions a day. It's growing, man.
Hmm.
And looking at that and just seeing the price being stable and holding up is more than enough for me to look at it and be like, you know what? I feel like this is worth betting a life on. And
Hmm.
that's how it is. And originally, it's a very the way I even discovered Litecoin, it was 2022, right? After the absolute disaster that year was, I wish I could delete that year from my life entirely, because like FTX, oh my God, FTX, I'll never forgive Dokwon Luna because I was long a particular coin called OGN. I was absolute freaking long it with like 80% of everything I had because I was
Mm.
absolutely beaten down by the lack of altcoin season and the bear market we're facing. And then
Okay.
Luna decides to freaking nuke that day, completely
Mm.
obliterated me. It was devastating. And
Right.
in response, this either this project, I don't know, they created a second token, which is like a governance token, which is different. And the original OGN tokens were no longer governance tokens because they used to be before, but now
Hmm.
it's just the token power and the DeFi, and it's no longer the governance token. And I'm like, what the fuck is this shit, like, bro? Like, honestly, that's how it just played in my mind. I'm like, just so much control, so much of it is just dependent on these teams, that have to make decisions on a whim based on their digression, so discretion, sorry. And I didn't like that. And then somewhere around late 2022 to early 2023, I saw Litecoin at $100, and I kind of flashed back, right? You were at
Right.
$100 in 2021 when I remembered you. Why are you still at 100 something bucks, right? Why are you still here?
Okay.
Every other thing is like down like 99%. What's your deal? Why are you still at 100 something bucks? And so
Interesting.
I checked the chart, and what I saw was absolutely beautiful. I saw resilience. This is something that just refused to die, and that was what I saw. And I thought it was a good trade, and ever since then I've been trying to store as much of my value and my work inside of it. And I come on Twitter to see what's going on, what developments, and I see this dude that's going Litecoin's going to $10,000, $15,000 master, and I'm like, what in the world is this guy talking about? And I see
What did that make you think? I'm curious. What was your when you saw that? Did you because you'd been through the ringer, so you felt like, ah, dude, here's just another
yeah,
shill, right? And
absolutely.
I actually Shane, a master, he came in plenty of times, and he and I met at the summit and everything. I think he's got an incredible amount of energy and drive. I've never
Yeah.
liked the chart reading. I don't. It's just in general, but that's his thing. I can't deny like that's coming from him. If you ever meet him, you're like, what you see online, that is master. Like you meet him and you're like all he talks about is fucking Litecoin in real life. Sorry if you don't want me cussing. Do you want me no
No,
cussing? I don't
go
cuss,
ahead,
man.
man. This is our chill spot.
But all he talks about and thinks about is it, and so it's like you can't fault the guy. It's his passion. So I in a way I appreciate that. That's not who I am, but that was always my concern with the charts is that it starts to kind of make us fall into that typical altcoin world.
Yeah, yeah,
But Bitcoin did the same thing. Bitcoiners did the same thing. They got their charts and their rainbow, whatever stock to flow and all that stuff. So I think it just takes you got to have both sides of it. And
yeah,
I think, like you're saying, what eventually people realize is they go once they learn about it, and you
yeah.
learned about Litecoin, I'm sure, and you're going, oh man,
Exactly.
it's like the same as Bitcoin. Like I didn't realize that. People don't even know that, or they don't know that merge mines with Doge. They don't know that there's like because Bitcoin maximalists will say, well, the hash rate on Litecoin is whatever, a tenth of a percent of Bitcoin's hash rate, not even understanding that hash rate doesn't mean anything. I don't want to burst anybody's bubble, blow anybody's mind. The actual hash rate doesn't mean anything
Yeah,
because these are two different algorithms, right? So
yeah,
it's like I was trying to use an analogy having to do with like, um, in your car, you have RPMs.
yeah,
You could be traveling 5 miles an hour at 6,000 RPMs if you're in first gear. But if you're in sixth gear, you might be half the RPMs and going 10 times as fast. You know what I mean? So it's about how much work you're actually doing. The hashes don't represent work necessarily. And so the work is how much money is being invested in the electricity to secure the network. That's the question. And then what's the value of that network? So right now the Bitcoin network's worth like what 1,000 times the Litecoin one, something like that, 400 times maybe.
yeah,
Uh, so should it security budget for Litecoin be the same as Bitcoin? Of course not. That's
yeah,
silly. That would be completely wasteful, and no one would make any money doing it. So that's why it doesn't happen. And guess what? None of these chains have been attacked anyway. So it's this bizarre moot point. Like even Bitcoin Cash has no hash rate. All the Bitcoiners, the BTC miners, could easily attack Bitcoin Cash, but they don't because it's
yeah,
a waste of time. You know what I'm saying? So, what is the evidence? Time has proven to us that people don't want to attack these chains. Governments haven't attacked the chains like I thought they would yet. They
yeah.
haven't gone and bought a bunch of miners or forced miners to. They're working on trying to censor transactions, but um, and I don't know why that is. I almost think maybe governments are truly just inept. They don't understand. They couldn't get a plan together to actually do anything about this.
I mean, on that note, right? I'm generally I don't like expressing strong opinions uh, about like governments and their involvement with crypto,
Oh, right, gotcha.
particularly because of this is something it's a space where there's a lot of I mean people become targets for things
Right.
just because of stuff they say and you can see what happened with Roger Ver. I don't know to what extent but of course he's facing what is going through, and so I just generally, but yeah, I mean it's an interesting thing to be honest. That you because you did in fact mention the fact that even the weaker the proof of work chains with like very um, low hash rate and the ones that are absolutely dominated in their hashing algorithms, right? Like
Hmm.
the other SHA-256. I mean, even Satoshi Vision, BSV, it doesn't get attacked that much, and yeah, that does affect speak to something. But I guess where people don't really understand the hash rate effect, like you pointed out, is with regards to how different the hashing algorithms are. and Bitcoin maximalists, they sort of like just capitalize on that. So when they talk
Yeah.
about like oh, Litecoin's got like the proof of work is low. There's no hash power, blah blah blah. It's deliberately conflating the fact that it's S script, and that's
Yeah.
SHA, and like Litecoin's like the top dog in S script together with Doge, which is actually pretty impressive. I don't know why I don't see a lot of people that talk about that. Honestly, it's like the fact that we have been flat for years with our price, but the merge mining with Doge just sort of like kept the network alive and growing. Like
Hey,
that's
yeah.
impressive.
Am I allowed to do it? Master just commented he's watching.
Oh yeah, welcome guys. Hey, welcome. Welcome everybody. Hey, Litecoiners, welcome. Altcoiners, welcome. Everybody, welcome. This is the Light Power Litecoin dedicated conversation, and we have here with us Grant. But yeah, so yeah, we're saying so. Master said he liked the analogies that you had with the Litecoin versus Bitcoin. Yeah, yeah. I think that's actually a very great analogy. Honestly, like there's just a lot of misinformation about there's been a lot of misinformation that's being perpetuated by Maxis, particularly about like Litecoin's network strength. And I just imagine that's why I feel like Litecoin is so worth supporting because so much is at stake once Litecoin starts going up because it's not just a price appreciation, it's the total deconstruction of a myth that has been perpetuated baselessly for years now. Might I even say a decade? You know,
Yeah.
all of the myths they're gonna crumble down because there's no way Litecoin's gonna be $1,000 and people are not gonna be digging into the old on-chain fact and looking at how the chain has pretty much endured everything. I mean, we've endured everything, bro. Like it's Litecoin has been put face down with regards to like public perception. It's been dragged in the mud. Look at us. Look at us. Open. We're still doing very well. The chain is absolutely healthy. No proof of work chain is even close. All of that without any, it's just moving autonomously, right? It's
Right.
what's the CEOs that are pushing it, and the world's going to wake up to that. So what's going to happen then? And that's why I try not to have any price targets or like oh, I'm
Right.
going to sell like man this because like I understand what's going to happen when the move happens. And when people start realizing that they've been living in this Bitcoin only facade, and they're starting to like wake up to the actual facts about Litecoin. I mean, things can go out of hand really fast because I don't see any other proof of work coin that can earn the merit of actually, deconstructing all the maximalist myths that have been plaguing the minds of people in this space, besides Litecoin.
Well, what's
Yeah,
so tough is that like again, people. I'm going to keep using Nigeria as a good example. If you could in Nigeria get a consensus of 10% of the crypto people say, look, why don't we start making this our base layer here in Nigeria? We can use it. Like the adoption piece of it, it's there for whatever population wants to start picking. It doesn't even need to be Litecoin. Pick Dogecoin, pick whatever coin you want and say, we're all going to focus on accumulating this. The problem is it's like who has a lot of extra money? Not a lot, and people want it. Everyone's play is like playing the lottery, right? They want to triple their money in like 3 weeks, and they can't have that
yeah,
long term vision of. It's like, yeah, you have to go like. I'm sure you have to explain. I can't imagine what kind of inflation you've had, right? This house was worth whatever 20 years ago, right? And now it's worth 20 times as much. Like, don't you
you know the thing.
understand something's wrong here?
The thing about inflation and the way people understand it over here is people do not understand price of when prices of assets go up. People think that's price appreciation, and they don't understand it's a factor of the depreciating purchasing power of the currency.
It's a
I had
tax.
a friend.
You're being
Yes,
taxed. Yeah.
I had a friend. He purchased a piece of land in 2020 during the pandemic, I guess. And so he bought that piece of land, and the price essentially doubled. And it's like, yo, land is a good investment. I just doubled my money. I'm like, no, you didn't double your money, bro. Like you, I mean, the dollar was like
Yeah.
600 naira for a dollar when you made that purchase. It's 1,500 per naira. It's lost 60% of its value against the dollar.
Right.
So
You should
how do
like
you?
so yeah. And in there, God, the dollar. I've always said that stable coins are huge. And I got to
Yeah,
imagine you're part of the world like just to be
yeah.
thrilled to have the dollar, right?
Honestly, honestly, because
Yeah.
because they don't think about it like that. A lot of people, and like I mean, he lost money selling that house, and he celebrated it like he made money because he didn't understand the concept of inflation.
And he paid
Uh,
tax on what he gained, I bet.
I don't even think he paid tax. Honestly, I don't even know if he
You
paid
know what I'm
tax
saying? Like that's the crazy part. You do make a good investment, you make money, and then they're going to tax you again because they've
again,
been
and
devaluing the money. It's like, holy crap, it's just coming at you from all sides. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
And then the dollar even depreciated also because like it
Yep.
lost, the naira lost value to the dollar, but the dollar as well still lost
Yep.
some value
Yep.
to its own inflation. So like if you do the math, it's like a lot of these people, like if you buy a house, it goes up in the naira value, like you shouldn't celebrate until like you denominate it to the dollar and find out what the dollar depreciation was over that time, and sort of use that to cost calculate exactly how much your real growth is. But like not a lot of people think about it like that. And I'd have really liked to go. I mean, I did have a bit of a course that I used to sell, teaching people about forex, teaching people about inflation, and how all of this basic stuff about the way markets works on a very fundamental level. But at the end of the day, like I noticed that like it's still not sticking in a lot of people's minds the way, because what, at the end of the day they just want to trade, they just want it to happen fast. And I get it, right? In a country where access to capital could be tight, right? The patience to allow capital to grow is usually not there, because like it's like, imagine you have this money to invest, but like maybe in 2 weeks you're gonna need to fee it, right? And so like
Yep.
you have this juxtaposition where you either get something that can grow fast so you can have the money when you want to eat, or just spend money where you want, because like you just cannot risk that capital long term.
Yeah,
So like,
that's honestly, I really switched my tune on stable coins probably like 2 years ago. I was kind of in the beginning like, stable coins are stupid, but I started to understand like, yeah, people in places that have really bad currencies. I mean, God, it's got to be a dream to be able to just hold on to the dollar, even though the dollar's losing some value.
all
They
right.
can escape their bad situation they're in. And what it does is at least introduces them to how crypto works, right? They start to understand, here's how I send money. This is how a wallet works. And they learn to manage that stuff. And to me, that's the best first introduction you can have, right? People enjoy it. It works. Great. Now, if I'm going to look at things that I actually want to store my value in, um, I might look at something else. But frankly, is the dollar perfect? No, but it's a lot better than a lot of different monies. And
Absolutely.
if that, I think that lifts a lot of people up that didn't have it before. It's going to be good for us as Americans, I think, long term, or at least in the medium term, because as more countries' currencies are going to probably fail because they can get the dollar, right? People are going to go, like I was talking to Animal, he's in Canada, and Coinbase had something that if you deposit USDC in your Coinbase account, you earn 5% interest paid out in dollars.
Oh
So if you're
wow.
Canadian, if you look at the Canadian dollar's been in a downward spiral for the last few years. So here, let's look at the last 5 years. Look at me, like a
You can
nerd.
share your screen, by the way. You can share
I
your
don't need
screen.
to. It was 83 cents a dollar. Or I'm sorry, $1 was 83 cents US. One Canadian dollar was 83 cents US. In I guess it's been 4 years, but it's down to 72. So it's losing 2 or 3% against the dollar. So now they have the option to go, if I'm losing 2 or 3% against the dollar in this way, in this other way, I put my money in the dollar and I'm actually earning 5% on those dollars
Oh
on
wow.
top of what I'm basically gaining 7%, 7 to 8% a year just by parking my money in this stable coin. If I'm Canadian, I'm like, why would I have any Canadian dollars? I can just put it in the US on
Abs-
Coinbase. And so they're
Absolutely.
selling Canadian dollars, right? Like it's hard to think about selling money and buying money. but that's what they're doing. They're taking their Canadian, they're throwing it in the garbage, saying, "Give me that U.S. dollar." And so I
Absolutely.
think when people catch on, it's a rapid change because if it as people start to sell Canadian dollars, take advantage of that, it makes it even worse. The Canadian dollar is going to get even worse. And so it's more incentivizing for everybody to go, wait a second, I got to get the fuck out of here. So it just incentivizes them to make that change. So that's why when you hear about hyperinflation, that's what happens is people's minds change. This money doesn't mean anything. It's a collective agreement. And if suddenly
Yeah.
people around me don't agree with me that this thing has money anymore, I better get out and I better get out really freaking fast. You know? And that's what
Yeah.
again, I'm not picking on Nigeria, but you guys are a good example of a country that has inflation issues. Yours aren't the worst, but yeah, you can totally put yourself in their shoes that
Yeah.
it's toxic. Once that naira hits your hand, how do I get rid of it and get something that's actually worth something? Is that
Instantly.
right? I mean, is that
Instantly.
how people feel, or do you think you're really unique, or is that a rare thing in your country?
Yeah, I don't like using. I don't so like sometimes when I don't like saying like I'm really unique because like it might infer that maybe I'm smart or something. But I feel like
Right,
it's by virtue of interest. People are just not interested in understanding finance and financial literacy.
right, right.
And so by virtue of interest, there are not a lot of people that think about it in the way like the in the way I think about it. And even you, okay, you said something, by the way. You mentioned Nigeria not being one of the might not be the worst effect. The
Is it
best
bad? Am I
representative.
gonna
Yeah.
find out
No,
something
no, no,
bad?
no. But like, I mean, we're a Hall of Famer, bro. In that in regards to with regards to you know inflation-ridden countries. I mean, we're a Hall of Famer. I think we're pretty much up there with the worst with
Oh,
regards to
yo,
inflation.
yo, now I'm looking at it. So back in 23,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so back then, a naira was worth, let's say, 22 thousandths of a dollar, something like that, 0.0022. And
Yeah.
now it's 0.00065. So that means it's down, it's about a third of the value it was. No,
Oh,
yeah,
it's worse
yep, about a
It's
third of
way
what it
worse.
was 2 years ago.
2 years ago,
Whoa.
yes, yes, that's just 2 years ago. You know the fun thing, right?
Bro, you're not
Now
playing.
this,
That's rough. That
no, it's
sucks.
rough. It's absolutely rough. And the worst thing is when you really put, when we're talking about the numbers, it doesn't really hit as much as when you talk about like what that means, in reference to the reality of it for people that are working. You know, I used to think about it in terms of my teachers back in high school. So when I got into high school, my school back then was one of the hottest schools in the state, like with regards to teacher salaries. Like when they had their interviews, like a lot of people want to go here because like it's top dollar, they pay top dollar.
Hmm.
And back then the salary for a teacher was 40,000 naira, which was the dollar was about 150 naira for a dollar. So that was about roughly 200 to 300 bucks, somewhere in the middle, like 260 something bucks, like
Okay.
which was decent, right? And as of the time that I graduated, that salary had increased to um, roughly around 50,000 naira. But then the dollar was now 350 naira for a dollar. So now that 50,000 naira, it's an appreciation in, they now earn more in naira, but they pretty much were earning at that point about $140 or something. And
Yeah,
now
I'm
they
looking. I'm looking back in 2010. So since 2010, it's down 90%.
absolutely, absolutely.
Wow, man, that's
Right now,
jarring. That's
that's
unbelievable.
right now, those same teachers from the last time I asked, they make 75,000 naira. That's $50 a month.
How long ago were you in high school?
About 7 years ago. Yeah, that's when I left. So when I just
Bro,
joined,
that's brutal.
that's absolutely brutal, man. It's absolutely brutal. Just looking at that,
Like that's like
it's
being here. You're like this is like a classic thing in America. You save up, you retire, and you've got, you're like this 60-some-year-old dude, and your whole life you're like, I've always wanted a Corvette, and you save your whole life, and I go out to the store, and my whole life it was a $50,000 car, and then when I actually retire and go to buy it, it's now $500,000 because the price.
Yeah.
Because while I've been working, my dollar has turned to absolute
Yes.
shit. So what I was earning 10 years ago is basically nothing. Like that's
Yeah.
basically what they're doing. They're just literally stealing everything from you. That's just
Honestly.
well. So
Honestly.
what do they do with the money over there? What
Now,
is the government doing?
I'll explain. I'll get to that point. I'll get to that part. I want to just finish this my illustration about
Yeah. Okay.
like
Go
how
ahead.
this
Sorry.
inflation's going. So now you have teachers, entry level teachers that were making $260 a month in 2012, 2013, that are now making $50 a month in essence, and their salary is actually increased in the naira denomination by 75%. And so you sort of like, I did that also with doctors. The doctors back then were making about 500,000 naira, which was somewhere within the range of, 3,000 something dollars, you know, for a good doctor, so like $3,000 a month. And
Right.
now a lot of them are making around 700,000 naira. You'd be lucky to make that as a doctor, but like if you're doing well, you're making 700,000 naira. That's not even $500. you know and back in the day, become a doctor. Everyone's like, oh, you have to be a doctor, you have to be a doctor. It's like 2 months, I mean 5 months into working, you've got your first car, you're driving a Camry. you know Now you can't do that. You can't do that. You're going to be caught. Like, I mean, God save you. Worst case scenario, I mean, imagine it being bad for you, you have a kid. You gotta you gotta do that. And so the question of what exactly they're doing with the money is like in the system of how this inflation is playing out. Now, interest rate in Nigeria is about 20 something percent, like 26, 25.
Yeah.
But very, very little people know about it. Very little people. You can ask a sample of 100 people, you'd be lucky to find one or two persons that know it. Now, how many people benefit from it? Most banks don't offer high yield interest accounts. Most interest accounts actually give like 12% at max.
Hmm.
Twelve
But they
percent.
don't lend anybody.
No,
Like
no,
they're real
getting a look.
particular who they're going to lend to. Yeah. Because
Absolutely.
but you're also lending out this asset. Like if I give you $100 today, and I know that is going to be worth 10% less next year, I have to make above and beyond that 10%, right? If I'm going to
Yeah.
be making a good decision. Otherwise, I just go buy US dollars. What's
Yeah.
crazy about your
So
illustration is that during that time, not only were those people making essentially fewer US dollars, the US dollar was buying fewer things along the way too,
exactly.
which makes it even
Exactly.
worse. Means you're talking like 95% loss of value. And
In a decade.
how do so yeah, it's got to really mess with your mindset. Just the population of your mindset like has to be, I got to get yeah, I got to get mine, right?
Honestly,
I can't plan for the future. Are you serious? It makes no, I understand it. It makes no sense.
makes no sense. That's why I'm ultra passionate about Litecoin, because like I just cannot store my work, my value, my productivity in this currency. It's not possible. It's just there's
And then
just
they
no
probably
way.
tell you it's like unpatriotic to buy cryptocurrencies. I bet you they pull that kind of
I
gaslighting bullshit.
I don't care. I don't care. Unpatriotic. I don't care. Honestly, whatever they say, I don't care. It's like and with my illustration, you see, when I said I knew people that were wealthy before and are now poor, it's not an. I'm not making an exaggeration. I mean it
Right.
literally, literally. Because like a lot of people here save. Like Nigerians, we're very resourceful people. A lot of people save as well. But like a lot of people that are actually rich. I know people that are rich and just back them a lot of naira in fixed deposit accounts collecting 10% while the naira is depreciating by 20+% a year. And do that over a decade, and they're probably left with like 20 something percent of their purchasing power, while the naira actually like appreciated nominally. And
Hmm.
that's the illusion that's going on. So like if you so where does the money go? It's very difficult to access that interest rate, the CBN interest rate,
of 20 something percent, like 25 or so. Most banks will give 12%. And most people don't even have
Oh,
access to that
you
12.
mean if you put money in the bank, you'll earn a 12% interest. That's what I thought you were
Yes.
saying they charge you 12% interest
No,
rate.
no, no, no. It's 12%. That's what they're
Oh,
gonna
so the
give you.
26 so the government pays 26% to people who are able to buy treasury bonds or whatever.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
then they
you got
give
to
you
have income inequality just out the wazoo, right? You got to have a few rich people and
absolutely,
everybody else is broke.
absolutely. There's no middle class in Nigeria.
And
There's
they
no
own
middle
all the
class.
land, and the rich people own all the land, right? And they
Absolutely,
own all the houses.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Total monopolization. Absolute monopolization. It's incredible how much they've managed to pull this scam in in such a scale that, and it bears itself in the in collective incredulity of general society, because very few people are actually like knowledgeable about this shit that's going on, because like people focus on, oh, it's bad government, the government, oh, this politician is corrupt, oh, it's embezzling money. That's not what's happening. You're being raped. I really hate to use that word.
No,
You're
no,
being
it's real.
destroyed financially by a system that was put in place to absolutely extract value and leave you at the bottom of it, at
Yeah.
the absolute bottom of it. Because
And the word it's funny because and I know it shouldn't make a lot of difference, but to me there's something about the idea that it's it's doing it to the people that are actually contributing.
yes,
The people that are trying to
yeah,
participate and make things better, they're the ones that get the worst end of the deal.
yep,
And yeah, I mean, we see it here. I think I think what I like about some of these examples is it's extreme enough. Like you see it when you see it at that extreme level. Like I said, you can put yourself in the shoes of those people and go, okay, I can understand why they would act a certain way or why their behavior would be. What I mean by
uh,
behavior is like their financial behavior would be
oh yeah,
today, like, I mean, if somebody today in the US is poor, they can't get a good job, they don't have any good skills, and they're living in a bad part of the city, they're not thinking about saving for tomorrow either. They're just living for today, right? And
exactly.
I totally understand that. It's I sympathize with that, man. That's rough. But I like this example because
Yeah,
I think it's a good one to use to tell people like understand what this does to your money. People don't, it's 2 or 3%. It's a lot easier to mask that issue. They just go, oh, whatever, it's 2 or 3%. I was actually a funny thing. I watch random YouTube stuff all the time, and I found this guy who he goes back to like old, I don't know. He'll talk about medieval times and like what did they eat during medieval times, and then he'll find a recipe from 1500 or something, and he makes it, and he whatever. But he tells a story, and you learn a little history along the way. And one of them was in the old west in the U.S., like the old saloons back, the mining towns and all that stuff. Um, what did they eat? Because you always see him drinking, but you never see him eating. And he goes through the history, like kind of what they had. And did I lose you? That must be a really not interesting story. So, can you hear me? I don't want to keep telling. Oh, you jumped out and then you jumped
Yes,
back.
I can. I can. Oh no, my Wi-Fi was misbehaving. I
Oh,
had to go
not your
twist the
wife. Your
antennas
Wi-Fi. Your
so they
Wi-Fi.
can connect.
No, my Wi-Fi, my Wi-Fi,
Your
Wi-Fi,
wifey.
Wi-Fi. What's the
Your
correct
wifey.
pronunciation? My Wi-Fi. I call it
So,
Wi-Fi.
what
It's
he's saying is that, like,
Wi-Fi.
he
We
said in
call
the
it
old
Wi-Fi.
west, these saloons used to do this thing. You come in and you buy a drink, one beer, and you get
Yeah.
free lunch. And I was like,
Mm.
how is it? And it was like, this is when they're taking, like, they didn't have refrigeration, and they're out in the desert, right? They're in Nevada or something, and it's they salt the pork somewhere and they put it on a rail car and they're sending it out and getting it to this saloon and cutting it up, and it was pork and beans or whatever was the meal. And you just think about all the costs to do that, like how expensive that would be today. And yet they're able to offer, you get a beer and you get a free lunch. And today, if I go in somewhere and get a beer that's going to be $5 to start, if I could buy one $5 beer and get $20 worth of food for free, right? Like something happened, and things should be getting better over time. They should be getting more efficient. We can grow way more pigs than we used to, right? We can slaughter them more efficiently. We have preservatives, we have refrigeration, we have transportation. all these things should be less expensive than they were back then, but they're still crazy more expensive, which is it's an illustration. Granted, it's 150 years ago, but it just shows you that compounding effect of interest. I'm hearing you and seeing you. I don't know what the problem is. I don't have all that much longer. I got a few more minutes actually, bud, and I got to get running. But
Oh my God. You were glitching for a little bit. I don't know if it's, I think it's my network. I've been
yeah, I
moving
see.
this
I'm
Wi-Fi
seeing
a
you
lot.
fine. I'm seeing you fine. I mean, you jumped out. You had a couple little jump cuts, but not too
Uh,
bad. But I was just saying that, yeah, it kind of
okay,
illustrates
okay.
that. It illustrates the damage that 2, 3, 5% can do every single year. Um,
Yeah.
and I think if I were one thing I would like to do if I have more time, I've been very busy at work, so I haven't had a lot of time to do this. One thing I am really fascinated by is finding, over here we have something called the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. Do you know what that is at all?
Price index. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
They
I
take a
do.
basket of
The
goods. They
CPI.
go pound of ground beef, a gallon of milk, a loaf of bread, and they track the prices of those things. And they've been doing this for over 100 years. And it's meant to say, like, the real things that you use on an everyday basis, how much have they gone up in price? And what they're trying to do is they want to make sure, like, real inflation for real people isn't too bad. But what happens is, you know, maybe they start off with like a sirloin steak was on the list. And then they're like, well, a pound of sirloin steak went up a lot in price. So we're going to replace that with a pound of, you know, whatever, ground chuck, right? And
Oh
then,
wow.
then it's I don't know. Then maybe it's changed to pork, or maybe it's changed to a hamburger or something. Like they're always changing it because anytime the number starts to show too big of a inflation, they don't want to tell the people that inflation is high. So they monkey
Oh
with
wow.
the actual things. So I've always thought it'd be interesting to go if you could find pricing from like back in the 1880s. What were we paying for? I don't know. Yeah, a meal at a restaurant, because that's kind of a thing. Whether
Yeah.
that meal is good or bad, it has the same value to you as a consumer. Like I'm getting a meal. Was it
Yeah.
10 cents back then and it's $20 today? Probably, right?
Yeah.
And so finding things that are actually real and that have been consistently bought over the last 100 years, it's tough because tastes change. And so
Yeah.
you can't be like a train ticket from, New York to LA doesn't mean anything to anybody anymore because they don't want it. So you have to finding those things that are meaningful, I guess, would be interesting. So
Like wheat, like rice, or
yeah, I
yeah.
thought like a head of cattle, right? Like a cow,
Oh yeah. Oh
certain
yeah.
amount of
Like a cow.
beef
I
on
think
it.
that.
That's probably not a bad. That's something we've been buying for 150 years. Um,
Absolutely.
I mean, I
It's
could probably
it's
think of it.
rather.
I've always heard like a men's suit. Have you ever heard that one? Like a good suit is worth like an ounce of gold is
Oh,
the same price as a good men's suit. That's been standard for 100 and some years up until recently. But um,
are you
or
for real?
that
How much is
gold,
it?
huh?
How much is it? Like how much is a standard men's suit?
I don't know. I haven't bought a suit in forever. Probably. I mean,
Is that-
you're gonna get a decent suit with a jacket, and you're gonna have a tie and shirt, and maybe $500, something like that. I don't know. I'm not
yeah.
I'm not fancy, but yeah. And there's even the ratio of like gold to a house. That's generally been pretty consistent over time. It might be like 100 ounces of gold is that equals the average home price. Again,
Yeah.
it might be 100, it might be 80. I don't know what the ratio is exactly, but essentially that's been steady over time. So I think finding a group of those items that are actually real to people, that might be something in your country to go, look at what the price of this was 20 years ago. Now, so is the Naira, was it on this chart? It says it started in 2010. Is that true? Before that,
No,
did you
no,
not?
that's yeah. We've always had the Naira. I think like maybe that's when we started having the data of it, interpreted in a chart. And I think like that's one of the most remarkable things about like the United States and this Western countries is like you guys have information about these things that you can put on a graph and like you can date it back to like the 1800s, like the 1900s. And it's really nice because it can give you a real inference, and a good insight to what the real value of things were. It's just generally good for like understanding inflation and understanding, how all of these things, play out. And we don't really have that, honestly. I don't want to talk down on the records keeping history of my country and my people. I don't want to sound unpatriotic,
Yeah, yeah, it's fine.
but I mean, we got, the internet, everything just became mainstream about 2 decades ago. I mean, like a decade and a half ago. I mean, we were still using Blackberries in like 2012 and 2013 when the iPhone was popping up. Like the Blackberries were still everywhere.
Right.
I think it was like 2015 when we just caught up with the Western world with regards to like the latest information technology. So yeah, there's a lot of you know, lag with regards to how much of information of these things are being charted and priced and provided as real-time data in things
Hmm.
that can be represented as graphs. So yeah, it's not very easy sourcing that information. Like if I wanted to know what the price
Oh,
of
right. Yeah, and it's not like
a
it's historically kept somewhere. You know.
exactly. I mean, it
Yeah.
probably is, but like, I probably go look at like an old magazine from like the
Right.
1980s or something.
That's what I think you
Not
need to do. I think you need to find old newspapers, like an ad for a car, and be like, okay, this was how much in 1985, do the
oh yeah,
conversion, and then go, man, this thing is crazy expensive now.
yes, I've seen something like that. Like cars used to sell for like 200 naira. Yeah, 200 naira. About 200 naira in like the 1970. I think in 1970 something. I think the naira was either on par with the United States dollar or even worth more. You can
I'm
you can do
slowly
that.
reading the history of it. It was well, you had the British pound, it says, the British African
Yeah, we
pound,
are. Yeah,
Nigerian
the
pound.
British. Oh boy, mosquitoes. Dear mosquito, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Ah, this one mosquito has been harassing me. Just one mosquito.
Yeah, you wonder. I mean, I don't know what it was like to be not to be under the West or the Nigerian pound, or it was a British African note. It says, yeah, the
Yeah,
Nigerian pound.
I get. Oh,
You had the
okay.
British West African pound, and then they changed it to the Nigerian pound. But it was based, I'm guessing, on the British pound, right? And you may
Yeah.
have been better off to leave it that way.
I mean,
I do think
independence, man.
larger
Independence.
currencies, you don't want to have only one currency, but I think having a handful of currencies is probably better as long as people can freely change in between them. So, like, if you go, it'd be nice if you went to the store and you could use any one of a number of coins and they don't know the difference. They don't care, right?
Oh yeah.
Um, I mean, you can't have thousands of monies, it gets too
Yeah.
confusing. But if you can have 5 to 10, that's probably where we're going to end up in the world here soon. Maybe by
Yeah.
design. You're going to have the euro,
Yeah.
you're going to have the dollar, you're going to have the Chinese yuan, you might have the ruble, and what in Africa would be the leading currency? Is the I mean,
That's
South African rand
that's
isn't even
what.
that great, right?
Yeah, that's what scares me, man. I don't know what it's gonna be because, like, we don't. I don't know if we have one that's probably that strong. I mean, yeah, Ghana this has been holding stronger than Nigeria naira, by the way, which is rather strange. I don't know. It's worth a lot more, and Ghana is just our neighbor, and
And maybe you guys will be the crypto continent. You know what I mean? I mean, you don't have. I can't imagine you guys have a lot of loyalty to your money. So, like, hey,
yeah,
let's roll the
yeah,
dice.
maybe when I, maybe when, maybe at some point later down the line in future, I mean, if someone's not pushing, because I feel like what we need more in Nigeria, we need more people that are passionate, about cryptocurrencies for the reasons that people are to be, ought to be passionate about cryptocurrencies for, like fighting inflation,
Mhm.
personal, financial sovereignty and all of that. And once we have that, I believe, like, I mean, it has to, it's like something that if the country adopts, it can actually set the Nigerian youth on a path to like financial liberation. It could be it actually can be really good. But I'm really I mean, on an optimistic side, I'm probably optimistic for that. Maybe that's going to be the after effect of all the 10x, 20x number go up, mimetics, and at the end of the day, people are just gonna settle down for what it's for. But who knows, right? Who knows?
Yeah, I'm trying to find somebody that was used to come into our spaces a little bit. I thought his name was Rume Ofi, but I can't find him, and I'm not sure why. He used to run. He used to be on what was it called? Clubhouse. He used to do spaces there. There were a
Oh
couple of
wow.
guys that would come into our spaces, and I mean, he's not. He's like on TV over there and stuff. So I don't know. Maybe he's out of your league. I don't know.
Probably out of my league.
I'm gonna try to look him up because it was him, and there were two guys that would come in quite a bit, and they were they were pretty into it. I think there was a little bit of going on like where they were always trying to promote something new. You know what I mean? They
uh,
had good roots. I mean, they were Bitcoiners, but they were also heavily in altcoins. Yeah, I always had to be a little leery, but I was gonna try to find him, maybe connect you guys because I can't think of it. I don't know where his account would have gone. I thought I remembered his name, and now I'm blanking. So I guess whatever. I'll try to send it out to you when I find it. But yeah, I got to actually get running only because I've got some things to do tonight.
of
Um,
course, of course.
but I might. Here's what's been going on. We've had the nicest fall in my entire life. Like every single night, it's been like every day. It's like 78 degrees, which we're Fahrenheit. I don't know what that means in Celsius. You got to figure it out. And at night, it's nice and cool. It's like 60 at night. I've been having these bonfires. Like last night, I was sitting on the bonfire. And so I may end up doing that again tonight. And if I do, I might end up doing a spaces. I don't know. So
Oh wow.
uh,
I'm probably
I don't really have much to talk about, but I just,
yeah.
you know me,
I,
I'll come up with some shit.
I'm probably gonna go to sleep. I don't think I'll be able to attend tonight's spaces because like
All right.
I've been staying up like very late into the night over the past like week. I've been learning a lot. Honestly, I've been going on a deep dive into understanding like how the blockchain works on like the technical side. So, like I want to understand. Yeah, I do want to understand how all of them work. So I noticed how incredulous I am, in relation, with regards to those things, and I've been trying to solve them. So I've been reading up a lot. I mean, yesterday was I was looking, trying to understand the way ZK knowledge works on like, you know, layer twos, Ethereum layer twos, and just
Right.
all that. That's been something I've been, yeah. So, but I'm at a point of a bit of a burnout now. I need to sleep
Oh yeah,
early and
don't worry about it. No, I know what you mean. Yeah, and that
yeah,
what you'll the interesting thing about learning about these things is at the end of the day, people are the ones that have to buy them, and
yeah,
there's a lot of things that go into and what people make these decisions on. Up to this point in crypto, it's been very speculative. I mean, there's very
yeah,
little thought about okay, I want to use this thing and I want to make sure I hold my own keys and all that. Like we've been talking about it, but the market, the general market doesn't really care about that yet. And I'm hopeful they will learn those things. What
yeah,
I've learned more about in the 4 years of talking about this stuff is how sometimes as crypto people, we don't take that into account enough that you can't just tell people, well, the blocks are 4 times faster. It's like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't care, right? Like it doesn't mean anything. The hash
yeah,
rate is up. They got a new miner out that the hash rate's 3 times what it was, and so it's merge mined with Litecoin or Dogecoin and Bell's coin, and they're just like, what? Who cares? I don't know what you're talking about. So like putting it into terms that people can understand, that's the challenge, and that's I think where we've
yeah,
really failed. And I'm pointing a finger at the maximalists. I think guys like Michael Saylor have turned this space into like this bizarre, borrow everything you can,
yeah,
leverage everything to buy this asset. We watched it. You watched it with Luna. That's exactly what happened with Luna, man. People over leverage themselves. And yeah, these coins are going to survive. You're going to have your ups and downs, but we're going to keep going like this until people like
yeah,
yourself recognize this is a long game. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna, as things are down, I'm gonna keep accumulating. And like Chief said last night, he's very wise in once you make a little money, take something off the table. It's okay. You're not
Yeah.
like breaking some cardinal rule. Just enjoy your life. And if you have an opportunity to make money and go buy a house or pay off a debt you've had forever, oh my God, you'll feel so much better once you've paid that off. And then 6 months later, that price is gonna be back down at $120. And you're gonna be like, thank God I can go rebuy and I paid off that stupid thing. Because we're still very new. And so you're
Yeah.
still going to be going through these cycles, these ups and downs. Litecoin's not teleporting to master. I'm sorry. If it teleports to $30,000, it's going to come back down to like $600, $800. It's just how these things work. It's how,
Maybe not 800.
well,
If it
what you
goes to
have,
30,000 and
dude,
goes to 800.
hey, you weren't around in 2017 when Charlie posted. I remember this. I woke up and he put on Twitter and he was like, this Litecoin was like $380, $400. And he goes, be kind of careful. Things are pretty overheated. The Litecoin's probably going to be back at $20 someday. And I remember everyone was like, what? Are you out of your mind? But like that, and that's what's so hard about having a crypto following and talking about price is like
Yeah.
he's doing that because he's going, he knew people were going to get wrecked, right?
Yeah.
Don't overextend yourself because he'd lived through those cycles. And I was thinking today, once you start seeing like mining equipment go up on eBay and selling for stupid prices, that's a
Yeah.
sign that like things are way overheated. Some
Absolutely.
dude sitting, who bought, he spent, invested 5 grand in Litecoin. It goes up 5x. So he's got $25,000 and he's like, hell yeah, I'm gonna go buy a machine. I'm gonna be printing Litecoin for the rest of my life. And he plunks down 5 of that grand to go buy some jank ass machine. It doesn't make him any money. That's when delusional people have entered the chat, right? And
Yeah.
that's probably a sign to be very wary of like, I'm going to pull a little bit out because, yeah, people are acting irrationally. And short sellers, look, there's leveraged people. They leverage short and they know when things are spicy and they carry weight. And so
Yeah.
what happens is that floor, what you see, I know I told you I have to go, and I do. But if you look at the Litecoin price, the floor has risen. Like, right, it goes
Yeah.
up and down, but the floor
For the
continues to
floor.
rise. That's the
Exactly.
sign of adoption. That's the sign that there are people who are always buying and using it for something, right? They have a genuine
Yeah.
use case for it. If you don't have a genuine use case, then it goes up and comes down and just goes down forever because no one was ever
Yeah.
really using it in the first place. The reason Litecoin continues to
Exactly.
grow adoption, so that foundation's always going to keep going up. And you're in one of those foundational areas right now. If you look at the chart, right? I mean, we're this range 80, I would say
Yeah.
60 to $120 has been accumulation range for a long, long time. And
Yeah.
it'll probably come back here. I'm sorry, dude. Maybe come back to 150, 160. I just don't think I don't know what to think. I don't like to do price things. I could very
Me either.
realistically see it go to, somebody saying $1,000. I could see that. I could see 2 to 3 somewhere in there. But
Yeah.
I don't know how much I would own at that point. Because I'd be
I
like,
mean,
it'd have to be a paradigm shift. Something would have to really be changed. The ETF may be a paradigm
exactly.
shift. That's the thing I can
Exactly.
see bringing enough dollars in to build that, to bring that floor up 10x and then grow from there, right? But um, I don't know. I just feel like take something. If you get to $500, take something off the table for sure, because it's a long game. You got a lot of life, dude. You're a young guy. I'm
Yeah.
46. I got a lot of time left, so you're better off taking a couple nice gains. You're in a different situation. You're not going to cash out into the Naira anyway. So,
I mean, the way I think about it, right, for like Litecoin, I just think, what I want to do with my perception. I mean, I understand it's always going to go through boom and bust. One thing I'm still expecting is that we're still going to see a general crypto bear. We've not seen a crypto bear market like a macro crypto bear market yet. We've just been seeing the cyclical bear markets. We've not seen it being like a bear market for like a decade or something, and that's going to happen.
right.
It's still going to happen at some point, right? And so I mean, I am sort of like in this position where I just see it as a way to store my value, and I understand it's always going to swing wildly over time.
Right.
And I'm just going to be there, right? I mean, of course, I'm not going to put everything inside of it, right? So I'm just going to try to make more money, putting my effort into something else, like probably building a media channel, have a lot of viewers and make a lot of money from ad revenue or something like that.
Hmm.
Probably build a business, another business, and all this type of things, right? Like scale up, my, cash flow, probably invest in other things. But I just want
Yeah.
to continue to stack up I mean, it's 84 million, so it's going to be. So I mean, if I could just, over time, is going to swing. The best investors are dead. The best investors are the ones that pretty much do nothing. And I feel like since it's a store of value for me, especially in the context at which I am, I don't see. Maybe I don't know. I don't ever put my mind in the position of, oh, if it gets to this place, I'm gonna sell. But I mean, if it gets very overheated, if there's something that I know that's absolutely necessary for me to get,
Hey,
that
you were
can like
talking about coming to the U.S. If you got to the price you had enough money to move to the U.S., you might be like,
100%, 100%. Well, that's a no-brainer, bro. That's an absolute no-brainer. That's not
see,
even.
so see, some things are worth more than money, right?
Yeah, some things are worth more than money. Absolutely, that's what
That's
I'm saying. So
exactly
like, if
right.
yeah, but I'm not gonna sell it, and like if it's to sell it and like probably keep it in fiat and like try to time that. I'm probably not gonna do that. When we get overheated, I see a lot of things happening. If
Yeah.
things that I need to do that I can transfer that value into becoming, I'm definitely gonna do that to like
Right.
further my career, further my
Yeah.
life,
I mean,
probably because
I've definitely thought about that. Like, if it goes up, you go, I could take it and buy a house or something, right? Like,
yeah, yeah,
that
that's a
type of
good one.
stuff is, again, you're only here once. Like, you do need those things, and you're not.
Absolutely.
I always said this: get in your mind, you're going to be working until you are probably most people are going to be working until they're old and gray,
Yeah.
and just learn to what you're doing, skill up, Matt. Like, learn new things. That was one of the reasons I did exactly what you're saying. I was like, there's no Litecoin podcast. And I did a couple spaces, and I was like, why not? I'll just figure it out, right? I went online, found a StreamYard account, and set up the Apple thing, and started doing it. And just for my own curiosity, like learning how to edit the videos, learning how to edit the audio, and that that was just interesting to me. It was a nice hobby, and it was fun. And I think that I don't I like being a guest a lot more than being a host. How about that?
Same, honestly, same,
I can come and
same.
talk. You need somebody who's come and just talk about some bullshit. You got your guy right here. But I don't want to host it and edit the video. It takes too long. It takes too long.
Absolutely, it does.
So, but I got to get running. So
Of
I
course,
appreciate you
we
having me
gotta wrap
on.
it up.
Okay.
Yeah, we gotta wrap it up. I want to just say something before we wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Should I call you name? I should just call you
You know what?
underground.
Call me. I almost want to make the announcement. I'm tossed around the idea of not. I don't. I want to bring Litecoin Underground back. I have my reasons why I took Litecoin out of my name. Um, I just don't like. I don't like the idea that I'm speaking for Litecoin because I'm not.
Honestly, yes.
But so I might switch it back to Underground. I might
Okay.
do that. I don't know,
Okay.
but call me Underground because I have another account called Underground,
All
and
right.
I like
Thank
that.
you.
Has a cool ring to it. I like it. It makes me sound cool. So,
Thank you so much for coming around, Mr. Underground.
but follow.
Appreciate
I'm at
you.
my account is the Populous Block at the
Of course,
Populous
of
Block,
course.
and then
Let
my
me.
post.
I'm just gonna show that. Let me show your account.
Yeah,
Let me share my screen and show
and
your account.
Animal
So,
Litecoin comes in all the time. You probably, if you're a Litecoiner, Animal.
oh,
He's
I
kind of
know
my.
animal.
He's pretty much my co-host for the last year and a half or so. Chief comes in all the time. Back in the day, we would get everybody. I had Charlie in there before. I had all the foundation guys, but something happened when I changed, and right after that, Lester came in, and I feel like a lot happened around November, December of last year, and I think the new Litecoin account is awesome. I'm so glad that happened. For years, I was going, why are we have 1 million
Honestly.
followers on this account? Why is nobody doing anything with this thing? And me and Master would always
I
reach out to the
swear.
foundation. Let us run the account. Like, what is going on? Let me post some things there. And I would always try to do spaces. Like, can we do a space and have the Litecoin account come into, have the Litecoin account come into the space and have an interesting conversation. Like, why aren't we doing this? Then they, of course, now they're doing that. Good for them. I'm glad it's happening. But I don't know. So who knows? Maybe I'll jump in some of those spaces. I've just been working too much. So Shaq Doge, I don't even know who you are.
Okay.
Did you used to come in, bro? I like this chanting underground.
Yeah. So,
So
underground.
I'll get back
So this
into
is
it.
this is underground. Yeah, this is
All right.
Underground's page. For those of you who are watching and haven't followed them, go follow him. The Populist Block, that's his page. So, he hosts spaces, and in those spaces we have really good conversations, very, egalitarian conversations. Honestly, I think that's a way to describe it because like it's an open, sharing of ideas. It's really nice. So, when do you host your spaces? Do you have like a schedule for
No, it's Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, and
it?
it's
Oh,
pretty
okay.
much every week. I've probably missed a few weeks here and there, but it's been pretty much every week for like 4 years. So it's pretty hard to believe I've done it that
Oh,
long. But yeah, we
oh
talk
wow.
about everything. I used to go. We used to do these ones. I'd be up to like 2 in the morning. It was ridiculous. I can't do that anymore. But usually we do 2 3 hours. Last night we talked about, what did we talk about last night? I don't even remember. Bots. We talked about how bots influence media, right?
Yeah.
And what else did we talk about? I don't. You were there. I was there too, but I'm
Honestly,
just usually talking.
yeah.
But
We
whatever.
we
We talk
talk
about
about a
whatever.
lot.
It's usually like world events and economics, and we do a little bit of politics. We talk a little bit of sports here and there, music, that type of thing. I've been getting
Yeah.
on a bend lately, talking about biblical stuff lately. I don't know why. It's been in my mind for the last month. So whatever you can
Yeah.
think of, just come join us. Thank you, man. I'm gonna run.
All right. I
You
appreciate
want to
you,
do a
man.
sign
Thanks
off?
for.
Wait. Do your sign off here.
I think I'm still gonna do like a little
Okay,
monologue stuff before I end it. So, man,
sounds good. Hey, I appreciate it.
yeah,
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
you're welcome. All right, now,
Bye.
take it. Yeah, bye. Oh boy, that's absolutely wonderful, guys. Populist Block Underground, man, absolutely wonderful, dude. Appreciate you for coming, man. I shout out to all of you that still were watching. Shaq Doge, Master, the Bloody Elbow, all the way from YouTube. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of you, honestly. MK, man, MK, thank you for always supporting me, man. You're a real one, bro. You're a real one. Appreciate you. I appreciate every single person that's still watching, but I can't see that you're here. Shout out to you. You come join us every Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. This is the Light Hour. We're doing it like one dedicated every single Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Sorry, I had to repeat that. But yeah, right after the altcoin season tour, we get to do this. Have this wonderful conversations that are generally like point based, and yeah, that's the whole point of the show. So thank you all for watching, thank you all for joining. If you like it, then if you enjoyed the conversation, go ahead and follow my page. I guess I'm gonna have to show you on my page so you can go follow me on X. And I talk about a lot of crypto and particularly Litecoin stuff. And yeah, I do host this live streams every Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Yeah, where we have an autism tour early in the day. That's general altcoin. Show we go through some of the largest cryptocurrencies and the top 200, and then we have this one later in that day. So that's this is the page, the Flipping Finance on X. You can go follow it if you're enjoying the stream. Anyways, now we have come to the natural end of this stream. Appreciate every single one of y'all for showing. And we shall see you guys, or I shall see you guys on Saturday, guys. Saturdays. Peace out. Much love. Litecoin is going to the absolute moon. Hold on to your balls, hold on to your guns, hold on to your everything. And peace out.